Hiya, I'm Paranoid Rat. Please keep all arms and rat tails inside the vehicle at all times as we start the video and shit. How to make interesting character designs is a question I know many artists are asking. Hell, I honestly ask this sometimes. And making a character that stands out, that is visually intriguing, can definitely be a challenge. It's easy to get stuck in your creativity and going back to things that are comfortable for you, but maybe not exactly new and original ideas. So in this video, I was going to go over my tips, tricks, and things I like to think about and do when it comes to making an interesting character design, and I hope these tips help any of you guys out too. So first and foremost is just intention. Intention and just being deliberate is necessary to making an interesting character design. Now, there's nothing wrong with just doing something casually and sort of mindlessly, but when trying to do like a strong design, being deliberate the entire time is one of the things I found was the most helpful. This means that whenever I'm like sitting down to actually do like a really thorough, proper character design, I'm thinking and analyzing every choice I make, whether or not it's adding or taking away from the design. It takes a bit more mental energy, but I swear it pays off, and I don't even do this all the time, because again, it takes a bit more effort. But I actually still really enjoy the process when I get into it, and it really forces me to think about what shapes I'm using. Are the details too cluttered? What contrasts nicely and what doesn't? What makes a silhouette more interesting, and like what like gives like this character personality? What does this design tell you about the character, etc., etc. So like just being deliberate with every choice I make is the key thing to take away here before I get into any other tips. And so with intention in mind as I'm designing, I then need to be aware of what I'm adding and what I'm not. This is where you need to ask what this design is for. Is it just a one-time thing? Is this for a comic, an animation, a personal project? Whatever it is, it should influence how detailed you are. If this is just for like a one-time piece, you can go ham on those details, and a lot of your decisions can be dictated by the overall composition of that singular piece. But if you're designing something for, say, an animation project, the less details, the better. You'll be having to draw this character over and over, so fewer details, and having the recognizability of the character be dependent more on shapes and color rather than like certain teeny tiny details is crucial. There's not one that's better than the other, but it's important to be conscious about. For either, it's important to find a balance between too much and not enough. An interesting character is something that's unique and can easily be picked out of a lineup and be very recognizable and iconic, I suppose. Even if you're trying to keep it simple, you can still make a strong and iconic design. Take any cartoon you've ever seen. It's simple, but you know exactly who you're looking at just at a glance. But also from the direction of something that has a lot more going on, don't just add details just cuz. If you add too many cool things, it will get too cluttered and be almost just as hard to recognize and pinpoint as one that doesn't have enough details. So just once again, bringing in that intention and deliberateness, and just really be aware of what you're adding to the design and if it benefits or harms you, essentially, in this character's. And silhouette. Okay, I'm sure you've heard about this one 1,000 times before, but I swear it's important. Hear me out. When I'm working on a design, silhouette is a crucial thing I'm thinking about. I didn't used to do this before. Like, I don't know, I always thought it was, like, silly or whatever, but no, seriously, like, the moment you start paying attention to the silhouette of your character designs, you will see a huge improvement in your art. So just listen. Don't be me. When I'm working on a design, silhouette is a crucial thing I'm thinking about. The idea is that you should be able to recognize a character by their silhouette alone. Here, for example, you can see no internal details or colors, but I bet you know who this is. It's Wolverine! Oh my god! Look at me finding another way to drag him into a video. I'm not obsessed at all. What are you talking about? But you can really tell that the designers for this character were very conscious about what they were doing. The most iconic parts of here are obviously the helmet and claws, but they also use strong shapes in like the shoulders and boots and stuff that make that silhouette more readable and more different than from the rest of the cast. The helmet is definitely the most recognizable part. It's unique and strikes a really powerful silhouette and more consistent. And maybe it looks a little silly at times, but you still know who it is, so they definitely did something right there. So when designing your own characters, be conscious of what they look like if they're completely blacked out. No color, no details, just pure shapes. It can seem a bit overly complicated, but it really isn't. And especially if you're drawing multiple characters that all need to go together, if all of their silhouettes look the same or similar, like you can't tell one from the other, then that might be a sign that you should play around with like exaggerating different shapes over others and adding in more interesting features that stand out from afar if they were completely blacked out. Just a thing to think about, and it really helps. And that leads me into my next tip, exaggeration. Now, if you do more realistic styles, this might not be the best for you, but I feel like most artists who are really into character design are slightly more cartoon oriented. So find those details from the silhouette or just overall design and make them bigger or smaller, if that is what's important here. This will improve your silhouette and just make your character pop so much more. Don't make everything exaggerated though, because then it'll be like all muddled and it'll like defeat the point. You just need to pick out like which parts are the most iconic and single those things out. Like Wolverine, for example, again. They could have made the helmet wings a lot smaller and probably more realistic, and that, maybe makes more sense realistically. But by making them bigger and taller, they really just cement his design as all that more recognizable. If you're really struggling with this and figuring out what needs to be exaggerated, I found a method that really helps me the most. Take your character and just draw them over and over as fast as you can. Fill a whole page with them, 2 pages, 3 pages. With almost no mental effort, your hand and mind will automatically simplify forms and exaggerate parts for you, and from there you can just perfect it further. And now, this might not work for everybody, but this is definitely one of my favorite tips and methods to use for strong character designs. It also helps you get more familiar with the character design and makes you just see what's necessary and what's not necessary. Because whenever you're drawing it really quickly, your brain will just pick out the aspects that are the most important, I suppose. Even if you're not like mentally, like consciously thinking about it, your brain and your hand knows what's important here, especially the faster you go. So that's honestly one of my favorite hacks for anything like this. Okay, and now we get onto mood boards. Get out that Pinterest we're settling in. If you don't ever use references for your designs, what are you doing? I swear this helps so much. It makes your job so much easier and your art so much better. It can sometimes be a pain to generate unique ideas fully on your own, so just filling your eyeballs and brain with inspiration will help you so much. I like to just like compile little boards on Pinterest, full of things like with weapons, hairstyles, clothing, and other character designs and things that just like inspired me or that have like a little aspect that I want to put into my art. And now I don't cop anything line for line, of course, especially anybody else's art, because that's called stealing and not in the good way. But this can build a really strong foundation of ideas for your designs. It can inspire shapes, details, elements, and colors. And honestly, anyone who says that using references are cheating are missing out and very much wrong. I love using this, especially for outfit design. I feel like I can often struggle in this realm to come up with interesting and functional outfits for my character designs that are, unique. But just doing some digging on Pinterest has saved my life in many hours of pain and tears. And lastly, I guess, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone here. There is nothing wrong with your comfort zone when it comes to your art, but if that's the only place where you draw, you'll use up all of the ideas in there and kind of quickly when there's a whole world of other things for you to use. And it can be challenging and honestly tiring to step out of there, but almost every time I push myself to draw something I wouldn't normally draw on my own, I was shocked with myself and obsessed with the end result, and it filled me with a new love for character design. And the more you do this, it'll grow that comfort zone and just make your art more consistently better, I guess. Being unique, trying new ideas, and pushing your skills to the limit is one of the best ways to create a design that's unique and interesting. And just sometimes you need to get over that initial mental block holding you back to get there. Anyways, yeah, those are my thoughts. These are the things that help me, at least. And everyone's different, but these are the things I try to keep in mind when I'm trying to make a strong and interesting character design. I hope you gained at least something from this. That's my goal, at least, when I make these videos. And I guess with that, it's my time to depart. The sewer rat meeting is over. Go off and put our evil rat plans into order. Until next week. Ciao.